You're raving, you're raving, you're raving with RWR. Fabulous songwriters from Belgium and beyond, the lowlands, the highlands, and far across the pond. On Instagram and Facebook too, you can follow, like, and share. Please hit subscribe and join the tribe from the comfort of your chair. You're raving, you're raving, you're raving with RWR. Why, hello there. Happy Wednesday, all you lovers of songs, lovers of songwriters. I hope you're all fine and well, wherever you're watching from in the world. Great to have you here. Raving with RWR is the program. It's episode 108. A little sporadic live stream that I do here where I get to chat or catch up with brilliant singer-songwriters from around the world. And Jamie MacDonald is tonight's guest. He's over in Sofia in Bulgaria. All going to plan. We'll be chatting with a great singer-songwriter, the man from Carlow, in just a minute. Speaking of Irish songwriters, sad old day. Yesterday we tragically lost the great Johnny Doohan, man famous for the song Ride On, of course, Christy Moore's big song, and many other great songs. Tributes pouring into him from all over the world. Johnny Doohan, rest in peace. Tragically drowned in Galway yesterday. Sad time for everyone over there. So anyway, it's great to have you here, folks. I just wanted to give Johnny a shout out there and that sort of thing. If it's your first time to the channel or you haven't already done so, folks, please consider hitting that old subscribe button down there. We're getting dangerously close to 3,000 subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you. You can follow the RWR Room on Facebook and Instagram over there. Feel free to do that. Would be greatly appreciated. There is a little tip jar flying around as well, by the way, down in the information section. You can do that, and of course you can become a channel member. I'll make a few announcements here before we get into it. And where is the thing I need? Yes, bear with me for a second. Technology. It is there somewhere. Yeah, there we go. One of those. Just to remind you, for $4.99 a month, folks, you can become a YouTube channel member here. It's a bit like Patreon. You can kind of support me longer term, should you wish to do so. I see Chris, one of my channel members, are in the chat there at the moment. Welcome, Chris, from Germany. Good to see you. I see Katja van der Porten, and I see Phil Hogg over in England at the moment in the live chat. Great to see you. Really is, as always. On Monday, the next Monday, I do a Monday night show, the Songwriter Show. And the next one won't be next Monday, but the Monday after, the 25th, is the next Songwriter Show. I hope you'll come and join us for that. If you can do that, that would be fantastic. Please feel free to do so. And of course, quick mention as well about my Sunday showcase, which is happening in the Penguin in Acklo. Mark Summers as Pilleman, Leontine, Betsy and Nick, and Jimmy Fork coming over to play for you on the 27th, isn't it? Yeah, I can't read that. Let me see. What does that say? 24th of November, of course. Of course. I also have a great live stream coming up, a full studio performance from the great Lieven Oost, and he'll be here on the 26th. So that's the night, the Tuesday. It's a Tuesday gig on the 26th of November, and that'll be a full live set from Lieven Oost. So I hope you can make some of them or all of them. Yeah, so, yes, in the meantime, I'm going to continue on. We're going to go over to Sofia, Bulgaria, all going to plan, and talk to this great singer-songwriter tonight from Ireland, the man from Carlow, they call him. He's over 30 years in the music industry, and going to have a good chat with him. Looking forward to it. It's been a while since we had a nather here, and here he is. Let's see if he's on board. I'm sure he is. Let's see. I'll hit the button, and we'll see. Look, there he is. Hello, sir.
There I am indeed.
There you are indeed.
How are you doing?
Good evening to you, buddy. It's a long time since we did one of these. I was just looking back there, nearly 4 years ago. Would you believe, in December?
Jeez.
I
know. The world has changed a lot since then, huh?
Hasn't it just? The world has changed a lot.
The weird thing is we've got handsomer. Have you noticed that as well? Of all the changes.
I don't know how that happened.
Who would have seen that coming? It must be the eyesight, I suppose.
Yes.
But
There's better looking we're getting.
It is. Oh, shocking, isn't it?
Shocking indeed. Just another quick hello there. If I missed anybody in the live chat, I apologise. If you are watching the replay, by the way, thank you very much for being here. But those of you who are live, it's great to have you here. I see Katja, Guitar Chris, Phil Hogg. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. Feel free, if you are watching, to drop in, say hi. But how are things over in your neck of the world? You're gigging away. You have a brand new album out.
Yeah.
Doing lots of work, man, all the time. Fair play to you.
There's a lot of work to be done. That's what I've noticed. At least my head tells me. I finish one project and there's something else. It's like a conveyor belt up there. There's always something coming down the line.
Is that how you roll? Yeah.
Yeah, I managed to trick myself into believing I was prolific. I know I have to deal with it, so I'm tormented at times, but in a good way. But yeah, gigging as well. I mean, it's all important. I'm out there, and I was still loving playing for people I don't know, seeing the new faces, seeing the songs connect with people. Being the servant of the song it's a rare thing, and it's really, really a special thing to be able to do that still.
It is a special thing, but you're at it a long time. You, you are. I know you're on the road for 30 years. We probably, I don't know, I can't even remember if we actually met or back in the Brussels scene when we were both doing the bars. Maybe.
Yeah. Back there around Belgium, definitely somewhere out there, right?
Line, yeah, because it's all a blur to me as well. Sometimes you see guys' names, the poster comes down and mine goes up, and they're like ships in the night sometimes.
I tell you, on that one, I have arrived at a venue, set up, and then done the sound check, and only at that point realised, I played here before. I mean, just complete blank until that moment. Done the whole booking, done everything, and only at that point gone, I have been here before.
Yeah,
so it turns into a blur, but in a weird way, it's still new all the time. There's new people to connect with, and new people, and the music sounds different in front of new people.
Yeah, it is. It's, like I said, I think everybody goes through that kind of phase where you're singing your own songs for such a long time, and it gets a bit sort of tiring, isn't it, in the head? I think everybody goes through it where you want new audiences because you feel a fresher vibe when you get out there in front of them, I suppose.
It lets me see them differently and hear them differently, and there's something bizarre, it's like I'm renewed by them being new people, but the music is too, and then I just kind of relax into it, and you can have all the nerves or all the thoughts before that, but as soon as you see that response, the energy coming back, it all just falls away, and it's all easy again, in a good way,
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's a great art form, as you said, and that you're still able to go out there and deliver it. It takes a lot of energy.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of head and heart to do it.
And foolishness. Don't forget the foolishness.
And a bit of that.
It's great, man. I do have those moments of going, this is just bizarre. You get up on stage, and sometimes I think, what am I doing? I'm up there sharing my deepest thoughts, fears, and feelings, and banging this piece of wood with a bit of metal string across it. I might be a lunatic, but those people in front of me are telling me they're into it, so damn it, I'll keep being a lunatic.
Yeah, keep at it. Just keep it going.
Yeah. As long as they're enjoying it, there's an audience for this lunatic. So who am I to judge?
Is there a healthy scene in Sofia there, or Bulgaria in general? It's not a place you see popping up on people's tour lists or anything. But I guess for you, it's a good base, is it?
It is, but also, I mean, there's a great history of music here, and it's very deeply embedded, much like the Irish culture. I would say the traditional music is still a bit more museum-like.
Oh yeah.
They haven't quite hit that golden patch. Don't get me wrong, they have some great bands that are doing it and mixing up the traditional with the new.
Yes.
Some fantastic ones, but it's not as common. They have bands that you could compare to Tequila, for instance, that are strongly steeped in tradition, but are doing something new, more world music with it.
Oh yes.
So you come across those, and there's some fantastic acts.
Oh yeah.
But there's clubs across the country in small towns still, and that's great.
Yeah, there's a lot of those disappeared with the Rona. Of course,
Yeah.
but during that time, that was the last time we spoke. It was, but we were about 6 months into lockdown at that stage. I was looking back at our last stream that we did, and you were saying you even got it yourself, and your partner got corona, and you went through all that, and
Yeah,
heavy
like many,
times.
right? Yeah, heavy time, and yet, I mean, it brought a lot of change for everyone, I think, and there was, I had a, it was actually Paddy's Day here is when just the day before Paddy's Day is when the lockdown came here.
Yeah,
I remember that moment. I was kind of like, because I had all these gigs booked, as you would do as an Irish fella on
of
Paddy's Day of
course.
all days, and just thinking, well, I can't do anything, but I might as well play. And
Yeah,
I did a gig. I did a gig online because why not? I have just a random idea. I'll stream myself playing, and people came, and people were enjoying it. And then that night, I had this mad idea, sitting on the balcony here. We like to sit out on our balcony, and
yeah.
I was talking to Nora, and I just kind of said, I've got a mad idea, and I'm not quite sure how to make it work, but let's give it a go because people like this. So I developed this idea of a world tour of nowhere.
Yeah, you did.
And so I toured by streaming from other people's platforms, and that was a revelation for me. So I managed to play in India and Australia and America, really all over the
It's
world.
fantastic. And kind of being hosted on other people's
Yeah, and so I
Facebooks or
got to
whatever. Yeah,
still play for new people because if it was just my Facebook, I'd be limited to that fan group,
sure.
which is great. But all of a sudden, I was touring. I was getting that same weird new connection.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I
so it was unique,
It
definitely.
was unique. I saw that happening quite a bit on other people's pages too. There were,
Mm.
venues were bringing in artists and they were sharing the links and performing. I have to put up a comment here on the screen. Hi all, it says joining from Asia. The man from Carlo brought me here. Kai Wai. I hope I'm saying that correctly.
Hi, Kai.
Kai,
Actually, Kai has made the video for "I'm Out There."
did he?
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, pardon me.
yeah. No worries, no worries. So there you go. There's a
Beautiful.
connection.
Kai, welcome, Kai, and what a great video.
Yeah,
And thanks for dropping in to the show. It's great to have you here all the way from Asia. It
from
really
Myanmar.
is.
Myanmar, yeah.
Myanmar, fantastic. Of course,
Yeah.
I meant to kind of open the show with a song and forgot completely, but we went straight into chat, which is absolutely fine too.
Sorry about that.
It was
What were we
okay.
thinking, huh?
I don't know what we were thinking. No, I think I was just freaking out in the background here, waiting for you to connect. And I was going, he's not going to make it, but it's all right.
No,
But
no.
before we'll chat a bit more. But let us
Yeah.
have a song. Thinking of You was first on the list, live at the Cava in Sofia. It says a live full band version of Thinking of You, the second single from your great 2024 album Magistrala. First of all, Magistrala, you were telling me means highway. Is that correct?
Yeah, in Bulgarian.
That's fantastic.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that you just randomly just picked that name, literally off the street.
Off the side of the road. I mean, you could. Yeah. Just driving between two towns in
Yeah.
in the east, and I'd seen the word I don't know how many times
course,
in all
yeah.
these years. It just never clicked to say it in English, I suppose, in my head. Magistrala as opposed to magistrala.
Yeah, you were saying it would be more
yeah.
like magistral would be how you
Yeah,
pronounce it.
and when I read it in English in my head, I just thought that sounds magic. It sounds majestic. It sounds like an
does.
old English word for something.
Yeah.
I could make anything up with that. An old English word for the show that comes to town. I don't know.
Yes, I
And
know.
it just, and I thought, well, people will be able to say, because if I picked another Bulgarian word, I'd be breaking people's tongues trying to say it, and it would
Yeah.
never be carried forward. So it had that weird thing going on, and I just really liked it. And yeah,
It's brilliant. I'm thinking of you. Is it a self-explanatory title, or is there a? Do you want to say something about the song before I give it a spin?
I just sat down with the whole song. The whole song came, and I started humming that sax riff that's in it, and so it was just one of those songs. And then I knew how it should feel,
Yeah.
and the band got in on it, and they did it well. The sax player thankfully liked my sax riff and was willing to play it. I thought, you never know when you go to it.
You never
'Cause
know.
for me, it was so simple. He might hate it, and he was like, "That's brilliant. We have to use it." I'm
Lovely.
like, "Great." So it's just one of those ones that all came together, and I thought, yeah, Yeah, I think that will fly, and I think it does.
It definitely does. It's a great track.
Of
I'll ask you about the musicians when we come back from it. But here
course.
we are, song number one tonight, folks. It's really, really great from the album Magistrala, and it is called "Thinking of You." It's a great one from Jamie MacDonald. Let's give it a listen. Take it away, boys.
Thank you for singing along so that I could remember the words. Very kind of you guys.
Thank you for singing along, he says, so I can remember the words. That's how it's gone now, is it?
Yeah, remind me of what I wrote again. Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Great track. You're putting out some great track music, buddy. I have to say, and working, with bands and great musicians. Who was involved in that particular session there? If you remember.
that live cut is the one time that the studio band from the album got to play live together, which was really nice. That we recorded it, kind of to have it as well, because
Yes.
we'd been cooped up and working on arrangements, and it's studios you intense.
Yeah.
And I mean, in fairness, it went really well, the studio session, but it's nice to let loose live and be in front of a crowd. And so that was actually the studio band.
Okay.
So the bass player, Alex, comes from Peru. He's Peruvian Bulgarian, Alex Linares, and he actually helped put together the studio band. He brought in the drummer, who's a great session drummer here in Bulgaria, but he also plays like on the Voice for Bulgaria. He's from the house band of that.
Right.
He's a fantastic guy. Like, he's just full of energy. Like, he just loves music. You can see it. We at the end of almost every take, he's laughing in the studio cut.
Amazing.
He's just. And the sickener is, he made one mistake on the album, and like the whole album, the whole sessions, and we kept it because it wasn't a mistake by anyone's standard, just by his.
Sure, by his, yeah.
And it just turned into a nice break that was kept in the song. He's that good and on it and having fun though. The energy is what got me. He's laughing, and then you press record, and he's just there and still smiling behind the kid. And then
Amazing.
the guitar player was just a pure scientist. He worked his parts, and he's just on it. And, I'd say, well, what about this? And he'd go away, come back in half an hour, and he'd have this part.
Yeah.
And it was just lovely to have that, this mixture of personalities. And then the sax player is Jeff Groves, a really good friend of mine here in Bulgaria, but he's played with many different bands, and he's had a hell of a career outside of what he did with us, and he ended up mixing the album as well. He just loved the album, which I was chuffed with, because I was just happy to have him play on it. And then he went all in. I brought him in to play sax on 3 songs, and then he was like, "No, I want to do more. I want to do more." And he kept upping it, and it was just amazing. So they were the core band, and it just really came alive. And then I had a few other people came in on for certain songs. We had like Adriana did the theremin on it, which is random, on If the Moon on that song. It just happened we knew someone who played theremin. So I was like,
yeah,
I have to use it.
So well.
Theremin, and I could call someone. I was like, this is awesome to actually have that, someone on call.
People will be Googling theremin now. What's a theremin?
You'll know it when you hear it.
You'll know when you hear it. It's so unique. Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you're like, oh yeah, I know, and it just gives this atmosphere that nothing else would do. You couldn't do it with a violin. You couldn't do it with anything.
It had to be that particular sound.
Yeah, and just because of the effort we were putting into the album, I was like, whatever I hear in my head, I want to commit to record.
Yeah, okay.
And that was one of those moments of, okay, theremin, I'm never going to ask for that again, and I probably won't ask.
No.
If I do ask, I'm not going to get it. And so I did. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And likewise with Jeff playing the saxophone, we were like, well, it would sound even better if we had a baritone sax as well as a tenor, and we did that. We didn't own one. We had no idea, and we managed to track someone down. And the guy said to us, we were like, how much do we have to pay? For renting the saxophone, you can come to the studio if you want. And he goes, no, you don't have to pay me. Just tell me who's playing it. And so we sent him some tracks of Jeff playing it.
Just tell me who's playing it, is it really?
Yeah. And we sent some tracks of Jeff playing stuff, and he went, yeah, you're grand. Don't worry, have it back in 2 days.
He knew that he was in good hands.
Oh yeah, he heard there's a real player, no mucking about, and that was it. And it was just one of those lovely things that he just wanted to know it was in good hands and it would be played properly.
Fantastic. Just want to say good night to Phil Hogg there. He said he's going to watch the rest of the replay. He has to step out. Phil is a great supporter of the channel. He's in the north of England there. Great to see you, Phil. Thanks for dropping by. And my good neighbour there, he says, this is a juicy dialect stream. Love the sound. Don't understand the word.
That's the idea. Keep you happy and confused.
Yeah. We when 2 Irish people start chatting together, we forget all about our surroundings. We start sometimes. I do anyway.
We need subtitles, right?
When we go home, it can get a little bit, and we understand everything. But sometimes I forget that there are people listening to us, and I have to articulate that.
Try it slow down now, right?
Thanks for the reminder, Stephen. Fair play to you. Fair play to you. Do you get home to Ireland a lot, or have you any plans to do so in the near future? Or what?
I do plan to next year. It's on my list. I haven't been home. I don't get home much. Just the way things happen and pan out. Life. You're like, okay, I'll get around to it. And I was only really last year we got back into traveling after COVID and everything.
Yeah.
So I took the family around to a few places. Um, but Ireland's on the list for next year to spend some time there, hopefully in summer or something like that, and show them a few of the places, Carlow and Dublin and Galway and Cork, and who knows
And
where
who
else we'll
knows
end up.
where?
You know how it goes.
Are you born and bred in Carlow or somewhere else?
Yeah, grew up mainly in Carlow, but then when I was a teenager, I moved to Kilkenny, which there was a lot of music there, as you know, if you know Kilkenny
Brilliant.
at all.
Yeah.
It's a great small big city. You know, it's full
It's
of culture
amazing.
and
It
life, and
is.
it's like a mini Galway. In fairness, you know,
Yeah,
inland
the
mini
first time I got
Galway.
it, a mini Galway,
Um,
like it, yeah.
yeah, and I was part of a music club that was there in the back of Clears too many years ago,
Well,
but it
there's
was
one.
full of musicians. It was amazing, and there was musicians of all caliber there. There was people like the guys who were in My Little Funhouse back in the day.
Wow.
They used to drop in. They were always there, and they were a great touchstone for me at that age because they'd done it all.
Yeah.
And you know, there are people whose brains I could pick, and you know, you'd be sitting next to them. There was no hierarchy. Everyone was there, and you do your 3 songs. And the guy who ran it, Christie, was just a great lover of music, and he just kept everyone in order and kept everyone's egos in check.
Yeah, fantastic. Great.
And for me, it was marvelous. It was just, you know, I had people my age, you know, who were in their late teens, who were now being
Yeah.
exposed to that music, and then people who've been through it all and were happy to again come in like us and play 3 songs. And then once a month or so, it was weekly, he'd have a feature artist. So I
Right.
got to connect with, like, at the time, you know, Paddy Casey and Mundy and all them as they were doing the rounds.
You coming up the ranks, yeah.
Yeah, so they were all there as well, you know, intermittently, and it was just a fantastic environment.
Just
for
a
music.
melting pot of talent, yeah. Well, there was so
Yeah.
many great venues in Ireland at the time like that, wasn't there?
Yeah. Every big city had one, and a lot of the smaller towns
Yeah, do you
too.
remember the International Bar in Dublin
Oh,
too?
of
There was
course.
you did that
Yeah,
probably, did you? And
yeah,
remember to
yeah,
bag it in on a Monday night? There was a lot of great
yeah.
great
And
ones.
the lobby down in Cork,
And the
another
lobby in Cork.
small place with a big heart.
That's it.
Limerick got them later, but there was, what's the name of the one? There was a lovely place in Limerick too, and I think it's still there. Jeez, anyway,
know.
but basically everywhere you'd find them.
Yeah.
You know, there'd be a
Get their
back
hidden
room
gems, yeah, or
with
upstairs
yeah,
somewhere or
yeah,
in the basement.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, after COVID, so many of them shut down, and even leading up to it, they were closing. They weren't able to deal with the smoking ban. I think first was a big
That
blow,
was the big thing, yes.
and then of course there was clamping down on drink driving, which is a good thing, but the country venues couldn't function then.
No,
You
couldn't
know,
cope.
and one by one, then, you know, more and more restrictions and regulations, and COVID really put the nail in the coffin of many of them.
A lot
You
of
know,
them gone. A lot of them gone since then.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to ask you about another song here. We're going to have a blast of another great song off your album. You were telling me you released it on your birthday as well. Was there
Yeah,
method in your madness there?
Yeah, a date I'd remember at least.
A day you remember, yeah. 2024. Was it? Well, it must be at least. You must be at least 25, were you, in March 2024?
Just a sprightly 25. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I figured.
yeah, exactly.
You describe it as a country soul gem, or someone described it as a country soul gem from Magistrala. The price for the price of love. It's called. Tell us a little bit about it, please.
Yeah, occasionally I'll get a line in my head, and I'm convinced I've robbed it from somewhere, and I might even write the whole song, and then I'm still in the back of my head going, I know, like, and I'll try and like look it up and find it, and I'll do everything I can, and I'll ask people, have you heard this? And in this case, I just have, for the price of love, I was bought and sold. I thought that must be something. It sounds so simple to me.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, I've heard it in a movie, I've heard it somewhere, and I could not find it. And because of that doubt, I was kind of sitting on it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I played it for someone, and they were like, where'd you rob that? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if you know, tell me.
Yeah.
And it had life before the album came out. People were singing it and requesting it. And I was like, okay, I have to put it down on a record, because people already have taken it to heart, and so I need to do some kind of version with the band. And it was a tricky one because I've been used to playing it solo.
Yeah.
And we were trying different things with the band, and we did these takes that were we were trying to do it to click and try to get it right, and sometimes the right way is the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
And so we did a bunch of takes, and I felt like I wasn't able to breathe in it, and this song breathes. And so I said, okay, I tell you what, this is going to sound daft. And as I said, the drummer's amazing. And said the drummer, just follow me, even if I go out of time. Just let me have this one. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the band followed me, this version emerged. And we did 2 takes this way, and we're like, both great. We have takes, and it just worked that way.
So you kind of laid it down live then, as such, pretty much.
Exactly. Yeah. And the band just followed me through it. And that was it. We added the viola that's in it afterwards.
Yeah.
I just knew it needed a little touch. The rest was done live, and it just felt right, and it captured
gorgeous.
something.
It really is a country soul jam indeed. From the album, from the 2024 album, Magistrale, here is For the Price of Love, Jimmy MacDonald. Let's give this a blast, Sarah.
Heard somebody say you had been framed for the crime of loving me, born to be free. You broke the chain, got away and forged a new destiny. Oh, the rain be champagne in the sun, pure liquid gold. Wouldn't make a difference, oh no, no. For the price of love I was bought and sold. Was I right to be bitter? Who am I to say? You done more for me than I could ever do. Seeing the flaws, you use the get out clause. Or here I sit, in myself I stew. Oh, the rain could be champagne in the sun, pure liquid gold. Wouldn't make a difference, oh no, no. For the price of love I was, for the price of love I was bought and sold. Word came down the wire. The birds heard it first, they sang a tune so sweet. You done the crime, but couldn't face life. You gotta live in time with your own heartbeat. Oh, rain could be champagne in the sun, pure liquid gold. Wouldn't make make a difference. No, no, no. For the price of love I was. For the price of love I was. For the price of love I was. Bought and sold.
Powerful stuff, sir. Really, really good, and what a band as well. This place, that bass player is real sound painter, says Stephen. Yes, he is.
He loved that one. He's really into that kind of song. I mean, he plays all kinds of stuff, but he himself says he loves that kind of feel, old-timey feel.
Old-timey feel, yeah. There's a beautiful vibe to it. Powerful voice, says Stephen, in the year of the fiddle. Apparently it's the year of the fiddle. I don't know if it's the year of the fiddler, but apparently it's the year of the fiddle this year anyway. He says a wicked Telecaster as well. He's in love with it. He's
it's all about the telly on that. We love that.
Lovely bit of telly.
The other voice on there is Alex Kirov, a very good friend of mine here. We do a Sunday session here in a place called Tom's Place, owned by an Irish guy. It's called Slinky Sunday, and it's basically like an Irish session would be. We all sit around the table, play, sing, do whatever you want, join in when you want. And Alex is a Bulgarian. He's been coming to it. It's running 5 years now. But his voice is it's so powerful, and it's as smooth as mine is rough. So it's just got this wonderful balance next to mine.
I was just going to say, has anyone ever told you you're a great singer?
Well,
no.
No. Let's keep it that way.
Not a one. No, I don't know. I wouldn't describe you as a rough singer. You have a beautiful grit in the voice, but you have a lot of soul in the voice as well.
Yeah. With him, it's a good balance. He's got let's just call it a purer voice, because I always feel I have more sawdust, as you might say, in it.
Okay.
But because we've been singing together for 5 years at this Sunday session, I couldn't have done the album without his voice on some of the songs. It was like, I hear it. He'd been singing that song with me, and I was like, you have to have it.
Yeah, of course. It became a big part of the sound of that song. Yeah. But yeah, as you said, the contrast is great. It's beautiful, and also have you brothers and sisters as well who are musical?
Yeah, I mean, like many Irish families.
Yeah, I was going to say the other closeness in voice, of course, the great sibling voices. You can't top that, of course. I'm just curious if you had ever recorded anything with.
No, funnily enough, I mean, my brother works in finance, my sister works in fashion, my dad worked in fashion as well.
Wow.
And all musicians, but not professional. Just you get the family session going, and all of a sudden everything, instruments come out of cupboards, and people come out of the woodwork, and everybody's doing something, and
that's it.
And the whole family will be like that. And then it's funny divide, because on my mom's side, they'd be more formal musicians. I've got family who are professors of music.
Oh wow!
And so it's kind of a funny one. The less formal music and the more formal music on opposite sides.
Yes.
But when you grow up around that, it's just osmosis. It just, you don't realize it till you travel and you see families who have no music, and you're like, what? How does that work? What do you do when you get together? What happens at a funeral? And you're like, is it just sandwiches? Is that it?
Just sandwiches. There's nothing else.
Yeah. So yeah. I have a cousin, and she's grown up now. But when she was a kid, she came out with the priceless one. Only an Irish kid would do. 7 years of age. I love a good funeral sandwich.
That's right. I love a good funeral sandwich. That's right. As we say in Ireland, better a good funeral than a bad wedding.
Yes, exactly.
Hello to Chris Childress there, by the way. Say hello to you in the chat. I don't know if you can see the chat there, but I put it up on screen there.
He's here in Bulgaria too. Yeah.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for being here. Lovely to see you.
Chris is a sax player. He's played on a few albums as well with me.
Oh, nice one.
And plays here live with us. And he gets into places, that fella. Another Texan like Jeff as well.
Another
played
Texan.
On the album. Yeah. Ironically, they met here, but they're from not far apart
Mad, isn't
back
it?
home. Yeah, it's a funny
Yeah,
world.
it is. You said you're gonna maybe try and get back over home yourself, maybe next year.
Yeah,
I suppose.
yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Yes.
plan. Do you ever consider gigging over there, or is it mainly just a visitor?
Um, I'm often asked, but it's tricky. It's
Yeah, it is
tricky
tricky.
to
Yeah,
I maybe one gig so I could kind of combine all the efforts together. That would make it worth it, you know. But you never know. You never know.
you never know. Yeah, it's not an easy
Oh,
place to get into if you haven't been sort of on the
yeah,
circuit there in a while, isn't it?
yeah,
I
exactly.
find it tough.
So,
I've
yeah,
always found it tough. Yeah.
was talking to someone in the Kilkenny Roots Festival.
Oh
So
yeah,
maybe that
that
would
could
be
be a
lovely.
way in.
It's
Yeah,
a nice gig,
it'd be
and with the
beautiful.
album, I feel the albums would suit their vibe too. You know.
Yeah, it definitely would. It'd be nice to get one, to cover a flight or something at least.
Yeah,
Especially a festival.
yeah.
They're generally good buzz, but the Kilkenny Roots is a great one. I did that years ago. It's going a long time.
Yeah,
Kilkenny
actually,
Roots.
is that a Roots poster behind you,
It
or is
is,
that
but it's
something
not.
else?
It's not a Kilkenny Roots.
It's the other
There
Roots.
is. There's
Oh yeah,
loads of roots. My roots are shown.
yeah. All kinds of roots,
All
huh?
kind of roots, but it's not a Kilkenny route. I think it's a Belgian route.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. There's all kinds of yolks hanging on walls here. Yeah, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, but it's great. So yeah, so typical Irish upbringing then with music. A lot of trad in the house, or mainly songs, or as you said, a mixed bag maybe.
Yeah, I think more songs. I mean, my dad played a lot of Christy Moore, as in played and sang them, so as
Yeah,
everyone did in the 80s. I
indeed.
mean, you couldn't escape them, right?
Yeah,
Um, and so there was a lot of the songs, but also he had been in university in Manchester in the 60s, so he played a mixed bag of Christy Moore, but then some English folk songs,
hmm
and Leonard Cohen was his big hero.
hold on.
So
Yeah,
I kind of grew up hearing all these from him, and
sure.
didn't really know the significance of them till I went further myself.
With you.
That I had this very broad background of music, even in folk. Lots of things like the Incredible String Band and English folk songs like that song Geordie.
Yeah,
So,
indeed.
yeah,
A big one. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. All those things that I didn't realize not everyone knew them until you go further and you're like, oh, I was quite lucky. And
sure.
then had Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and all that other stuff too. Cousins who were DJs and so a very broad kind of palette to draw from.
You were very lucky, yeah. As I
Yeah.
said, it's very easy to get stuck in a genre. Sometimes,
Yeah.
whether it's trad or singing, it's great to have the mix.
Yeah, and that was it. It kind of made me restless when I write songs. I kind of disregard genre. I just write the song.
Yeah, well,
And
this is a good thing. So it could
yeah.
start off as a folky thing and end up as a jazzy thing or a rocky thing, could it?
Completely. I mean, on the album, there's a song, I Can't Stop Breaking My Own Heart. And it really, in my head, it started off as a pure country song. Just the title,
Yeah,
And I shelved it for years because I'd worked it with another band in Dublin at one point, and we were signed and nothing happened. So I kind of disassociated from the song because
Sure.
it was from that era. And then we were looking for a particular kind of song for the album, a rocker kind of one.
hmm
And I was like, you know what? I bet you I could rework that one. And we did, and we made it more like cow punk pop thing with saxes in it, and it came to life again. And that's a typical example because it's a country song if I play it by myself.
Sure.
I can't stop breaking my own heart, but it's got this massive, big saxes on the chorus, and that punky pop feel to
It's
it.
great. Yeah, I admire that about your writing and your style as well, that you're able to interweave influences and that. It's a credit to you, boy. A credit to you.
I mean, honestly, it's that same thing. It's the foolishness.
It's
It's like I'll do it.
foolishness.
I don't know
Yeah.
what's going to happen when I do it, but I'm going there.
But as an independent artist, of course, you can do that. You're not at the
Yes.
under the gun of a record label, or
No.
when you're unsigned, you really have a lot of freedom. There's a lot of freedom to not being signed, isn't there?
Yes, and that's
For sure.
having gone through that previously with that band I mentioned.
Yeah.
We were given so much but could do nothing, and the money we were given for the demo of the album, which we recorded the whole album before we recorded it,
Oh.
was enough to make 3 albums I could make now
Amazing.
with that.
That's
You know,
amazing. Yeah.
and nothing happened with it because they decided, the mood's changed, we'll shelve
Sure.
it, and you're like, look at it going. What a waste of money,
and time
a
and
waste of
energy.
passion. And
Yes,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
brutal. Yeah, there's it's amazing. People don't see any of that background stuff, and
No.
it can make or break an artist or a band. The
And yeah,
BS that goes in the
there is
background.
that. There's so much, you have to just go, I'm going to do it regardless. And that's the point
Yes,
where it got me to. But I could just have easily said, I'll never do that again
you
at
could
that
have
point,
you could have thrown the hands up at that stage, kind of
Yeah.
after getting stung, and kind of gone, enough's enough. I'm out. I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's
you
the
get a
mark of
pro
a true pro, I think, in a way,
or true idiot again,
or a true idiot. There's a fine line.
It is.
There's a fine line, as you know. We've all
Yeah.
gone through the
Well,
idiot slash pro
yeah,
phase.
yeah.
What about this? What about this 3-track EP that I'm going to play a song from? Dust into the Sun is a song. Is
Yeah.
the EP came after the album, or is it an older?
This
Sorry, I'm wrong. I'm skipping. I'm skipping songs. I'm talking about
That's okay.
Not in My Name.
Yeah.
Is from another album. We'll come back to the EP. Yeah,
Another EP as well. This is
it's like
another.
Coffee and Cuckoo Land, a great album title,
Yeah,
great EP title. Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
A short album, 8 tracks. But that was from before
That was
Magistrala.
before. Yeah.
I started working on it, and then I managed to negotiate the financial situation to record Magistrala. But I didn't want to shoehorn the band into making Coffee and Cuckoo Land because it had gone too far down one road,
Okay.
and it didn't. It just. I could have done it, but it felt wrong to do it because it didn't have the same vibe. So I wanted to use the band as a band, not as fill in the blanks that I couldn't do myself, But for this song, I worked with a different engineer, Bobby Kostadinov, who I've worked with a lot here. And it was just something that came together, and there's a fantastic bass player on it as well. Daniel is great, the bass player. He's a magician.
Yeah, just a brilliant
He
guy.
speaks another language of music that I don't even know where he gets the notes from. He's got another 12 notes that I've never seen or heard. And so between the three of us, we kind of worked that song up in Bobby's studio. Nyama means nothing or none in Bulgarian.
Nyama Nietzsche.
And then Nietzsche, and so I had this perverse idea that it was funny, but only in my head. and so Nyama Nishto means like, it means nothing. So if it's like, don't worry about it. If I gave you something and you were like, thanks, I'd be like, Nyama Nishto.
Nyama Nishto.
So Nyama Nietzsche is just kind of a play on words, only in my head. So I had to put the subtitle not in my name to give it some English context.
It's clever.
Yeah, so that's how
very clever. Mark Smith was saying there, by the way, someone did a contractual obligation. He called it contractual obligation. He said, which is a good name for an album in the music business. I thought that was good as well.
Yeah. So I think this is a lovely construction of a song, and there's a lovely video we made for it that worked as well as Wonders on a very low budget, and it all came together very well. And it's a magic moment because of all the people involved.
So good.
And somehow it shouldn't work. That's all I can say about the song, because when I sat with it and I brought it to Bobby in the studio, I said, Bobby, I could be crazy here because there's so little to it. It's basically one chord or one riff, let's say, and we stuck one break into the middle of it just to break it up. But I literally went to him and said, tell me if I'm crazy, but what do you think of this? And I played that riff, and I spent about 6 months trying to learn to sing over that riff because it's in 7/8, which is not so I was killing myself, and like, I hope I haven't killed myself for 6 months for nothing. And he was like, that's awesome, I know what we can do with it, but we'll need Daniel. And so we got on the phone to Daniel, and the bass player made it, and it all came together. And then he got a lovely Bulgarian singer to add that Bulgarian kind of style of backing vocals there, Daria. She came in, and he did that behind my back, like snuck it up on me. I was out in the studio, and he brought her in, and he said, what do you think of this? And I was like, that's
where'd
amazing.
this come from? Yeah, it's fantastic.
And,
not in my name. Nyama Nietzsche in Bulgarian.
That'll do. Yeah, that'll do.
And the album, close enough. The album Coffee in Cuckoo Land. It's a great track. Let's give it a spin, buddy. We'll come back and have a chat in a moment after this. All right. Here we go.
Yes.
shaking faith, saying, not in my name, not in my name, not in my name. Bomb blast in a northern town, the cause because the cause, if it makes sense to you, the righteous becomes true. God turned away, could not speak, could not say, not in my name, not in my name, not in my name. Desert I will stray, let the kingdom fall away. You say I'm gone and dead, oh, I'm not dead, I'm not dead, oh, I just lost my way. Leave it up to you, 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 leave it up to you.
Yes, Not in My Name it's called. Yeah, it's a wonderful track. Really is one of my absolute favourites from Jamie's superb musicianship, says Kai. Thank you, Kai. Much appreciate the comment. Very cool.
It's a trippy one, you know.
It's a trippy one, but there's some great vibes to it. There's an Eastern thing going on, and yeah, I love it. It really does. We got a lovely there from Katja. Thanks, Katja. Much appreciated. Thank you all for the lovely comments, folks. I know Jamie typed in one there as well to say thanks to you for putting them up. Yeah, great. You really are doing great work. Joni's in from America. They're happy to be here. What a gorgeous voice. There you go. That's from Joni Toole.
She loves your voice. Hear that?
See that? See? Someone likes your voice.
Oh, she's talking about yours, I think.
Or some of me. I don't know. Hi, Joni. Do you like my voice? Listen to my voice, Joni. There's two great Irish voices here.
Yeah.
Speaking voices, anyway. I don't know what it says about the singing voices, but great. Thank you for being here, Joni, as well. So I just put your Bandcamp link into the live chat there as well, and all of your links are below, folks. Anybody who wants to get Jamie's music, subscribe to his YouTube channel, do all that stuff. Give him a follow there, Instagram, Facebook. Everything is available on Bandcamp where they can actually buy it, right? Digitally.
It's always the best. Not just for me, for every artist.
For every artist, yeah.
Random plug. I don't get any money from Bandcamp, but they make money for me and for every artist. It's real.
It is. It's real money. Johnny says both, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny.
Thanks, Johnny. Listen, I want to ask you. I was chatting to Pete Kavanagh recently. You were on that show as well. You were in the chat.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here for that. But we were discussing the demon drink on that show. I don't know. It's not just an Irish thing, of course. It
That's
can
an
play
artistic thing as well.
It can play a big part, in people's lives, especially in show business. You're off it a few years now, aren't you?
I am, yeah. Off my rocker a few years now.
I knew that.
I actually, we were talking earlier about that, and I randomly looked because I know the date was 13th of August. So that makes it 8 years and 3 months
8
today.
years. Well, wow.
3 months, just
Kudos to you, bud.
But yeah, I think it's so ingrained in artistry, but also in the myth of artistry. It's a tough one to let go of for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But it's impossible to hold on to too. If you want to grow, I think as an artist, when Shane MacGowan died, I felt really sad because I thought there were so many other songs he could have written.
Yeah.
The sad thing about his life is so good, and yet so many missed chances to write more. And that's one of the things I see. He reached this perfect moment of being this tortured artist. I would have liked to see him untortured too. You kind of, Tom Waits, for instance, he had that period and it was golden, and then he moved to a new period and that was even more golden. Sure. And he moved, and again, Nick Cave is another one. He went through that heroin phase and the birthday party and the bad seeds, and then he progressed to this. I don't know if you've seen him recently, but he's like this unholy preacher, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I have. Just not live, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
And it's a tough one because it's a tough choice to face yourself that way.
Very
and I get
so.
it. It's scary.
And can I ask, was it affecting not only you, but I suppose it was affecting people around you?
Undoubtedly, and again, it affects everyone when it gets to a certain point.
Yeah.
And you're not being yourself, so people don't know how to deal with you.
Yes.
And if you're selling the fake version of yourself to people, what are they meant to do with that? They can either respond to the fake version and you don't feel good, or the other way around. And it always affects people around you. I mean,
I think it's unavoidable, isn't it? Sometimes.
Yeah. So I think for me personally, it removed a lot of the fear of the process. I write a lot, and I know that, but I also write a lot of bad songs, and that's okay.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of bad songs you're never going to hear. I'm never going to put them on albums.
Well, you have to write those too and sift through them. No matter what state you're in, you're better off writing bad songs sober than songs you think are great when you're not, maybe.
And I didn't write a lot of songs when I was drinking, as in I'd write them in my head, and I'd write a line and decide that's a terrible song, and I was right.
Right.
Because a line is a terrible song. You need the rest. I wouldn't get to the rest,
You need a few more, yeah. You wouldn't get to the rest, yeah.
So now I'll happily sit down and write 12 pages of lyrics, and then I'll pick through it and go, well, okay, that doesn't make sense at all. That doesn't work for this version, or that'll be a different song. But I'll get to that point.
But you have the clarity of mind, of course, to say yay or nay, right?
And also to know some days I can sit down and write a page of lyrics and I'm not in the frame of mind to judge them, and nor should I. And I'll come back sometimes a month later and go, oh yeah, I know what to do with that now. But before it'd be write the line, throw it in the bin, hate myself for being, stupid, and walk away.
Wow.
And what do I get?
And what, yeah.
And that's the big difference. I don't mind writing the bad lyric because it's probably hinting at a better one. Or if not, at least it's out of my head and lets me write the good song.
Yes.
Instead of going around in circles in a bad one. And so it's definitely been a boon for me in that freedom of artistic expression.
Was that sorry to interrupt you, was that period all before Bulgaria? Was it Ireland and beyond?
No, it was here. I've been in Bulgaria. It was all over. I was all over the shop. It was all over the shop.
Yeah, it was all over the shop.
So
you're out there a long time, are you?
Yeah, I came here in 2011. 13 years I'm out here.
13 years you're out there, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's a sad part of the industry, but there's a lot more artists realizing there's life beyond it too. while it might inform us, and we're sensitive souls, some of us or most of us, it's okay. It's okay to be a bit raw.
It is.
In fact, that brings something more to it. I know
For
myself
sure.
that I only ever wrote, this sounds funny, I only ever wrote one album, drunk. And it was a lightning strikes moment. I sat down with a couple of bottles of wine, and it just happened to be a mood I was in.
Mm-hmm.
But I never did that again. I never wrote songs well with any substance.
You reckon they all came out that night, did they?
Yeah, it was just a mood. Whatever
Really?
it was, I just wrote these 10 songs, and some of them have stood up over time. I never recorded that album. Maybe I just, in hindsight, never took to it in a different way,
Sure.
But it was never an inspiring thing for me. It was an escape thing. And the songs now give me a far better escape than that does, and nobody screams at, well, not many people scream at me after I sing a song, but
Get off!
yeah, exactly.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So it's a very different world, but I'm happier that way. I'm happier creating good or bad songs, and that's a better place to be.
Yeah, well said. It's nice to dip into that conversation. Joni commented on it there a few minutes ago, and it is, as I said, as we discussed behind the scenes. Someone will hear it and maybe be inspired by the. It might be a eureka moment for them, going, I don't need this in my life. It's causing grief to me and everyone else.
Yeah.
And maybe I need to give it a wide berth and focus more on the art and the craft.
Yeah, it's a rewarding journey, because I just think of the people I've met, the other musicians I've got to play with, the gigs I've played because of that. Place. I've been to so many weird, amazing places that I'd never would even know where they're on a map. And music brought me there. I didn't do it. Music dragged me there.
Absolutely.
And it's still happening. Do you know what I mean? Like last week I was playing in Macedonia, in Skopje, at a wine festival. That's ironic because I don't even drink. There I am on stage at a wine festival. But that's again, it's a new crowd, new faces, and that's why I'm there.
Does it trigger something in you in the sense that it makes you step back more from it? If you are surrounded by people who, for example, are taking a drink, especially at your gigs, or you're in the midst of an after party or something, how do you relate to that? How do you?
I'm happy to see people happy. Everyone does a different thing to unwind. I mean, I'm happy to be that guy on the stage, and I'm very relaxed on stage. I'm at home there. I understand the lay of the land, and I'm perfectly happy to see people enjoying the music and the show and the wine, whatever way they want to.
Yes.
So there's no. It's just that's not for me. That's fine.
You don't have an aversion of people coming up to you and might be, a bit pissed or whatever.
No, I mean,
it doesn't bother you so much.
As long as they're all been, nice.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I get it. Like, because at the end of the day, some people need that glass of wine to break that barrier and be willing to talk to the artist, the big scary artist that I am.
That's right. Yeah,
Do you know? And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely fine. We're all trying to enjoy life at the end of it, and. For me, I wasn't enjoying doing that, so I don't do it. Other people, if they do, Jesus,
fair play.
Enjoy it. So no, I had a great time at the wine. Sounds funny again to me. I had a great time at the wine festival.
Wine festival, yeah.
But I really did, and a weird thing for me that I don't get to do a lot of is I got to see more music. I got to see one of my favorite Macedonian bands, Faltim, were playing at the festival too. I don't get out because on Saturday nights, guess what? I'm playing.
That's what you're doing, yes.
And when I'm not gigging, I like to spend time with family.
Yeah.
So I don't actually get to be the music fan that I am enough. So it was great to be able to do that, and I also drifted away from the festival because it was in the city centre and went to a bar and saw this amazing little 3-piece band playing in a bar.
Gorgeous.
And that was amazing as well, because
you don't get to do it normally, yeah.
Exactly. So I have to thank those blessings, because if I wasn't playing music, I wouldn't get to be at the festival to get to see music.
Absolutely. Jimmy, just pull your mic down a little bit. There you go.
Better.
Better. Yeah. I want to have a couple more questions for you, but I want to play one more song for the lovely people watching. That's the one that I mentioned before, "Dust into the Sun," and this is from a 3-track EP. Tuesdays at Memento Mori. What's the connection there?
More random things in my head. I tell you, they're all jokes I find funny at the end of the day. There's a book about philosophy, and it's kind of a novel, like Sophie's Choice or one of those, right. And it was called Tuesdays with Maury. And so I just thought Memento Mori, which is about, living life and remembering death so you live your life fully, is really what Memento Mori is. And so I just put the two together and thought, that's hilarious. To me, to myself. It doesn't have to be funny for anyone else. I'm
No,
laughing.
as long as it's funny to you.
But
yes, says Johnny.
Yeah. So after the last classic book, there you go, Mark.
Classic
Yeah,
book,
exactly.
Mark. Yeah.
After the last album, myself and Jeff, the sax player, were just, because we hang out a bit and talk about music, we just wanted to do something. And he said, "What songs do you have?" And I sat down in his studio one day and I played him a bunch of songs and we just started sticking them together. So Jeff did a lot of the work on this song. I really just played and sang, and he just did all this wonderfully weird stuff, I have to say.
Yeah, wonderfully weird. It is.
The sound at the start, if anyone's wondering, is a NASA recording, which they've shared, by the way. The copyright's okay. A NASA recording of a black hole.
That's
so
wow.
That's what that is. That's
Where do you
sweeping
find
sound.
This stuff?
Ask Jeff. Jeff lives in a black hole. He's a law unto himself.
He came out of his black hole and he said, "Here, put that on your song."
He had a piano and other stuff and a black hole. So that's sort of, there you go.
Jeff on piano and black hole.
Exactly.
Dust into the Sun is the name of the song. We're going to give it a play and I'll come back and we'll wrap it up after this. Is that cool?
Yes.
Beautiful. All right, check out this one, folks. It's kind of a lyric video, but it's gorgeous. The sound of it is fantastic. Check it out. Dust into the Sun, Jamie MacDonald.
Step out into the fog. It's not running. If you don't belong, pack lightly, travel safe. Dust into the sun. They don't speak of love. They don't know your song like I do. To face the past, it's turned its back on us, like staring down the tracks when the train's already gone. They don't speak of love. They don't know your song like I do. I do.
Jamie MacDonald, the one and only, the man from Carlow. That's a beautiful song, stunning. You're doing great work out there, buddy, I have to say. And yeah, kudos to you for all your great songs and great work. Yeah, brilliant stuff.
Thank you.
Just brilliant stuff. Joni saying, "Wow, that hit to the deep place." Those little black holes are noisy, aren't they?
Yeah, I know, right?
But gorgeous. What a unique thing to do is to put that little recording in at the beginning of that.
I know. It's
so
brought
unique.
it somewhere else. It's really framed the song completely differently than I imagined first, but it works.
Yeah, it really does. No, it really does. What is your? I ask everybody this, but your song. When you write a song, what is your process? Do you need an instrument with you? Do you take a lot of notes and put them together after, or how do you?
It's everything, really. Everything and anything.
Yeah, okay, it's a big broad mix.
I'm kind of aware of not falling into a trap of doing the same thing. And I try and upset myself sometimes. Sometimes I will just sit down and write a bunch of lyrics and then figure out what's the music going to be like.
Okay.
Sometimes I will hear 90% of the song and I sit down and I play it. And then I have to keep playing it so I don't forget it and I can write it.
Yeah.
And there's variations on that, like, as I said with Nyamaniche, I only had that riff and I had one line, God walked away. I'm like, well, what did he do then? And I did something, but I didn't know what the hell he did after that.
So you have to kind of develop it from there.
I kind of follow the process and think, well, if it sticks in my head, there's a good chance it'll stick in yours. If it doesn't stick in my head, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So when I have something that keeps eating away at me, I'm like, I will get around to working at it. And some songs are like that. There's only one line, but it's a good one, and I know I can build around it, even if I'm not able to do it right now.
Absolutely, you gotta. Yeah, sometimes you have to chip away, don't you? You have that one line or that verse or whatever, and you said, "This is a keeper."
Yeah,
let's try to develop it.
But you don't know what the rest is, and the songs all vary with that. Some of them come with lots of stuff. Sometimes I hear the whole band and I have parts in my head, and sometimes it's just like Dust in the Sun, Into the Sun. I really only had the guitar that runs underneath that. It's not very audible in the mix, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, all I knew was I keep playing an A throughout every chord. There's an A note there that kept running.
Right.
And I just thought that's kind of weird because the chord changes below it, but it's always an A. So it's like an A with an A is fine, then an A with an F sharp, then an A with an E, which is a weird chord. And I just had this idea that it would give it, I guess, something circular, and I just went with it and broke it in the chorus and went to something different. And again, just following that process of not trying not to have a process.
Absolutely. And all just I don't know if you have any formal training in this or any kind of music school background or anything. Not really.
No, not really. No. At this stage, I'd say yes. But in reality, I don't. I mean, I learned stuff myself. I got to a point where I went, you should probably read a book about this. Mm-hmm. And it was more confirming what I had got to myself, that these chords are related. Why? Well, they sound good together. And then, if you put in the wrong chord here, it'll sound crap. Okay, but what can we do to bridge those two chords? Well, then you need a certain kind of chord that's going to get you from, C to F sharp, because they don't naturally. You're like, okay, well, what would that chord have to do? Well, it would need bits of both or bits of something connected.
Sure.
And then you're like, okay, that's going to be a weird chord, but it exists, and you already kind of knew it.
Yeah.
But when you read it in a book, you're like, that's harmonic structure, and that's a borrowed chord or a borrowed note, and all these things.
All the theory behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, so no, I have no piece of paper on the wall.
No, I think it's great. What you do is just natural. Yeah, you have it's a natural gift, shall we say? Wherever you got it from.
Yeah, licked it off the side of the road like the album title.
Yes, like the album title. So people can go and check it out, folks. Yeah,
Yes.
links to Jamie are below. Hopefully they'll go
Thank
and
you.
have a visit to Bandcamp.
Please do.
I just wanted to say thanks very much for your time and your talent
Thank
tonight,
you.
Jamie.
Always.
To get to
always.
chat to you. It's been 4 years since we did one of these. It's hard to believe.
We'll do it sooner next time, right?
So we'll do it sooner next time. And if you're ever passing through Belgique, you're
I
always
know
very welcome.
that's the next one. We should focus on that one, right?
We
Getting
should
in the
try and
studio
get you
there,
to the
we'll do
RWR
something.
room somehow and
Yeah.
somewhere. I will sign off. If you want to have a quick natter back in the green room, we can. Jamie,
right.
But I'm going to just say goodnight to you here and thank you.
Thanks to everyone.
Is the Bandcamp Friday coming up? I'm not sure, Joni, but you'll have to check that out. Either way, if you can go and grab something of Jamie's on Bandcamp, we appreciate it very much. Jimmy, thanks again. Lovely to chat to you from
always great.
Offaly to Belgium to Carlo to Bulgaria.
All
Technology
over and back.
when it works is great. Technology is great. Thanks everybody for being here. I'll sign off here solo and I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Thanks everyone.
Have a great night, and your gigs will be on your links anyway. Stuff that's coming up, I'm sure. Brilliant. Jimmy, thanks a million. Good night to you, bro.
Sure. Good night.
See you. Thanks a million. That was Jamie MacDonald, folks. The mighty man, the man from Carlo, as they call him, out in Sofia, Bulgaria. I hope you enjoyed the chat and the songs. I certainly did. Always fun to do these little things, these sporadic live streams at Raving with the Rua, it's called. If you haven't done so already, give it the old thumbs up on the video. If you wouldn't mind, hit the subscribe button, and you can follow me there at the RWR Room on Facebook and Instagram. Always good to chat you. We're back for the Songwriter Show every Monday. Not next Monday, I will be in Ireland, but the Monday after, the 25th, I believe, of November, we'll come back. Show number 69 there. So come and join us for that one. 8 o'clock Central European Time, 7 p.m. in Ireland. And without further ado, look after yourselves. Have a great rest of your week. Thanks to everybody who dropped into the live chat. If you're watching the replay, much obliged. Thank you for playing the videos. Thank you for watching the videos and for supporting the YouTube channel. Thanks once again to the brilliant Jamie MacDonald. Go and check out his links below, folks, and try to support him however you can, whether it's subscribing to his channel, follow him on his social media, and of course, if you can, if you're in a position to do so, buy his music. Wonderful artist, and great chatting with him again after all this time. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you on the next one. All the best, folks. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.